Yeah, and you guys have to tell me if my lipstick has, like, crawled into the corner of my mouth.
Absolutely.
Makes me, yeah, I saw one the other day. Nobody else probably notices, but I notice everything. Everything.
Really?
I notice it.
You will be noticing the 7 blazers that I have received because my mother ordered a plethora.
Oh, good.
Yes. Very excited.
Better with blazes. Hey, you guys. Merry Christmas. Feliz Navidad. All right, ladies and ladies. Is it just going to be you 2 kids tonight?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
We have 2 more in the comments.
Okay. 2 more that are common. Is that what you just said? Did you hear that? She just said the other 2 were common. Let me give you some Wi-Fi. Let's do a little Wi-Fi because you guys get all... Yeah. And then let's wonton soup and the egg rolls. Egg rolls. All right, I'm ready. We're going to have a light. It's going to be light tonight, so get your questions in. This will be the night to get your questions in because everybody's busy and traveling. But we did not want to miss you. There's Barbara Boxeslov. I know her.
Yes, and she knows you, more importantly.
All right, I'm ready, girls.
Okay. We're logging them right there.
Hold on, I need another water. Hold on. Hold on.
Okay.
Sorry. Too many electrolytes, not enough water. My lord. Ugh. Do you guys ever do that? Like if you like have half water and you put your electrolytes in and then you think you're going to add water and you forget to and you take a big swig of... All right. Did you know water gives you 2 things? It detoxes you and it gives you energy. Did you know that?
I did not know it gave you energy.
David said it the other night.
That's spectacular.
Spectacular. All right, we're ready, ladies. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages.
Yes. Where did you get that blazer? I do like the royal blue.
I think this is Casper. They're like nothing. They're like $37.50. Who doesn't love a good polyester? All right?
Yes, absolutely.
I could take it off, but then my arms would be showing. You know how I'm about that.
Absolutely. Okay. My questions haven't started yet.
Okay, if you guys want to ask a question, just ask it in the chat. We are light tonight. That's I'm a poet and didn't know it.
Because you rhyme all the time.
She just had to do it, Elena, didn't she? Just couldn't just leave it there.
Absolutely.
Thank you. And Shannon, these are real sequins. These are international sequins. Yeah. I just got this out of a package. It said I ordered it. I have no idea where I ordered it from, but ask your questions in the comments.
That's called Amazonesia. When you order
I don't have Amazonesia, Amazonesia, because it tells you. I have TikTok dysplasia.
Gotcha. How do we know one-to-one adult support is provided?
You would ask, how's the one-to-one support going? And they would say, about the one-to-one support. Ha ha ha. So just real quick, for those of you that are finishing up your Christmas list to you, the mastermind starts Sunday. The mastermind starts Sunday. It will probably be the only, we only for sure do one group mastermind. So get in there, get registered. Because if you want to be a professional advocate full-time, crushing it and serving families from Alaska to Miami to Massachusetts to San Diego, get signed up for the mastermind.
It will be one of the best decisions you have ever made.
Decisions.
Is there a cap on resource classroom? Is there a cap in a resource classroom?
No.
Should students on the adaptive curriculum have intellectual disabilities?
So it's not adapted curriculum. It's an alternate curriculum. So tell me the question again, Cindy.
It is, should students on the adaptive curriculum or alternative curriculum have an intellectual disability?
No, you don't have to have an intellectual disability to need an alternate curriculum.
Okay. I have a question. What is SASS in an IEP?
SAS. SAS. That's what.
You
That's.
have plenty of SAS.
I don't know. You know, they make different acronyms everywhere, and as soon as you learn the acronym, you know, they change it. So, student approach to student success. I mean, I'm just spitballing it. I'm not sure.
That was pretty good. Is there a timeline when a parent asks a district for an IEE?
So you have to respond. So the law usually uses a phrase called reasonable, which is kind of funny because who knows what that is. So I would assume if you ask for an IEE in Florida, they would take their sweet time. But by law, you should respond within 5 business days. I think that's reasonable.
Reasonable. It's almost like normal.
It's almost like, did somebody say Seminole County? Seminole? Any Seminole? No. Was it me? Was it them? Was it Seminole? I don't know.
I don't know, but Santa said they're on the naughty list.
They're on the naughty list. Yes, and they're about to find out how naughty they are.
Yes, ma'am. Is it okay for special education pre-K students to physically fight with the teacher and the aides?
It's not okay for anybody to physically fight with anybody at school. Ever.
Is a student, join my team. Is a student on a 504 eligible for OT services? Maybe depending on why they are on a 504 possibly?
So there's some districts that will allow related services on a 504. I think it sort of is counterintuitive. If you need related services, they're under IDEA. So probably if a child needs a 504, they have a disability, they need accommodations, and they need a related service. Let's dig a little deeper and see if they're eligible for a 504. But you could have OT services on a 504 if the district agreed. Thanks you guys for the gifts.
If the school doesn't have enough space for your child in the IEP class, is it okay that they tell you to homeschool?
Oh my. Good Lord. No. What? The Hello Kitty are you talking about? Yeah, the school district doesn't get to tell us to homeschool. Lord.
Why doesn't a school district honor outside agency autism diagnoses?
Because we're not looking for a diagnosis, we're looking for an eligibility. So you don't have to have a diagnosis to be eligible, and it doesn't necessarily mean because you have a diagnosis that you are eligible. So we're happy for that additional piece of outside information, but ultimately the onus is on the school district to do educational testing to see if there's an educational need.
If a student reaches 30 minutes of math pull-out a day, are they allowed to be pulled during math block?
You can spend the entire math block in resource. You can spend the entire math block in an alternative setting. We figure out what's the right place to implement the IEP in the appropriate setting. There's no cap for that.
Okay. Something that popped up. There we go. Let's see. I'm in California. Does the law protect caps on caseloads or give stipends or more support?
Tell me that question again.
Sure. I'm in California. Does the law protect caps on caseloads or give stipends or more support?
I don't think I'm understanding the question.
So I think what they're asking is if they were a manager of a caseload, is there a cap on that? And if not, should they be receiving stipends for a heavier load or more support?
Should they show you the money? Probably they should show you the money. I've never found a state that has a cap on caseloads for special education.
My school district does not have an occupational therapist on staff since this summer. We live in Texas. What should we do?
Ask for compensatory time to return the student back to where they would have been had the IDEA violation not occurred.
Yes. Do we have to provide compensatory services for kids who don't have an EC teacher if they aren't regressing?
So that kids are regressing is the only way we provide compensatory time, say it with me. It's a lie. It's a lie. If you're denied FAPE, you're denied FAPE. If you could deny kids FAPE and then the district could decide whether or not there was regression, we'd be in a really bad situation in special education. So did you deny the services? We'll actually never know what the penalty was for the student because we can't quantify that. So just because you met your IEP goals, I don't know, if you didn't have an ECSC teacher who's taking data on the goals, oh, nobody. So then I would call your data invalid. So yeah, we don't do that. If you deny the student FAPE, you're going to return them to where they should have been.
When do students need alternative testing in terms of state testing?
When they meet the state alternative testing criteria. And it's outlined in each state.
Here we go. What's the best way to know if the teacher is adhering to the accommodations in the IEP?
So you communicate with the team. We're a team. We communicate. So, hey, Elena, tell me which of his accommodations have been most effective. You learn to ask really good questions. That's part of our training in the 2-day and part of our training in the mastermind. You have to learn how to ask really good questions.
Yes. Can campuses offer 4 days of co-teach to allow teachers to prepare hard paperwork on the 5th day?
No, we don't deny a student special education because you need to prepare for something else. So if a student has a disability Monday through Thursday, they probably have a disability on Friday. It's the weirdest thing. And so since I can't quantify which of those 36 days he wouldn't need support, we're going to give him support every day.
What can I do to help a kid who is triggered, for example, running away and screaming when the principal comes in?
Have the principal not come in? Just kidding. So, when there's a behavior, we are charged with finding out, hypothesizing what is the function of that behavior. So, I would ask for an FBA, a functional behavior assessment.
Let's see. What happens after IEE? Oh, wait. Is that English? There's a whole bunch of numbers and letters after that. So, I guess the question is, what happens after an IEE?
What happens after an IE? So the IE is conducted. The report is provided to the school district because the school district purchased the IE. Then, in a reasonable time, the school district will share those results with the parents, and we will convene an IEP meeting to talk about those results.
Okay. What do you think about 5 to 9 SPED students all receiving in KUDUS? KUDUS? Okay, I don't understand that one.
Inclusion? Was it inclusion?
This is KUDUS. Okay. That does make sense. What do you think about 5 to 9 SPED kids, students receiving inclusion?
I think that's great. I think we're probably, maybe if the person can rewrite the question.
Yes. If a student is diploma bound per IEP.
Oh, I'm sorry. Just first of all, diploma bound. That is, I would never, ever, ever, ever allow a child that I advocated for to get a certificate. So there's that. That was never the intention of IDEA, that we get a star and a pat on the head for participating. So, but let's say that you've been talked into this, but go ahead, Cindy. Sorry.
That's okay. If a student is diploma bound per IEP, can a mom get mad when I focus on grades, not fun in high school?
Well, I don't care if mom gets mad. I don't care if the teacher gets mad. I don't care if the principal gets mad. We have to do what's right by the child that has a disability. So if we did what people wanted based on their emotions, we would never be able to serve kids with disabilities properly. So if he is charged with receiving a certain number of credits to receive his diploma, like everybody in America should, then you need to make sure that you're providing the right product and the right instruction. The grades will be a benefit of that.
The school said my son can't go to school because they have no space for him in the IEP class. What do I do?
Say, looks like we need to have a meeting to talk about out-of-district placement at the expense of the district.
Yes, ma'am. Let's see.
So the real question is, Elena, did she make all of these noises as a young girl?
Especially when dinner was put on the table.
Oh, absolutely. She would drive you crazy with it.
My grandson does it. When he eats, he's like this. Seriously, it's amazing.
It's a family trait to hum and sing while you're eating.
That is like the best. He's like, he is not joking about his food. And he rocks a little bit too. He's like,
especially if it's Chick-fil-A.
Chick-fil-A. Well, he's past that. I said that. I said, Levi, do you want to go to Chick-fil-A? Gigi, it's Chick-fil-A. So.
Please tell me you recorded him saying it, so we always have it forever.
I don't think I have him saying Chick-fil-A. I did tell him that he's in Georgia with his mom and dad and his other family, and he said that his mommy said she told Santa that he's been good. I said, well, I told Santa you were good, and they're going to come here too. And he goes, oh, it's so cute when they're still that little.
Oh my gosh, yes.
4.
Yes. Do we have to provide compensatory services for kids who don't have an EC? Never mind, they asked that again. What the technique to improve reading comprehension for my kid with ASD and ADHD and ID? He's kindergarten and should be on a 5th grade level.
So, I mean, that is a really loaded question, right? We stopped teaching reading a while back, and then after that, we decided just to read to everybody. So, you know, reading is built on foundational components. So if your child has ASD, ADHD, and ID, for me, the first thing I would find out is what is the primary disability? Because those are very different disabilities. If the greatest impact is autism, you know, kids with autism sometimes will read faster than grade level, but they don't have comprehension. So you have to teach them strategies to self-manage that reading comprehension deficit. But I would break it down even more. Is it phonemic awareness? Is it decoding? Is it fluency? Is it basic reading skills? The ability to take apart a word with automaticity and put it back together fluidly? Really, of those 4 reading components, where is the biggest deficit? And then build there first.
That's awesome. Dana did write back in. She said, what happens after the IEE results and the school still doesn't put the student on an IEP?
They don't have to. They ain't got to do nothings except for pay for that IEE. That's why I'm not so quick to, you know, ask for the school to do one.
And here is another person who wrote back in as well about what do you think of 10 students receiving inclusion? And the rest of it was 20 minutes for all by a para while the teacher teaches.
I don't know how you can be helping while the teacher's teaching. 2 things happen in a class. Instruction and production. The para should be helping during production.
I asked. Now I'll be aware of it.
Yeah.
I asked for testing in the 8 areas like you teach us. My son will not do, my school said they will not do a formal speech language because my son speaks Creole and English in our home. And the formal testing is not normed on dual language homes.
I would say bologna sauce. Please provide me that denial of my procedural right under 300.111 that you are denying him child fine and you're denying him testing. You are charged with ILE, identifying, locating, and evaluating children who may have suspected disabilities. So we'll need that all of that denial and a prior written notice by close of business, Buttercup.
Love the Buttercup. Can a school hold an annual ARD 3 months to change placement 3 months before the 3-year reevaluation?
You can have an IEP meeting at any time to consider if the setting is correct.
Awesome. Ooh. Brittany Yvonne is sending lots of gifters and she received several badges. Thank you, Brittany.
Thank you.
My child has a diagnosis, anxiety disorder unspecified, is there an educational impact that he can get as an eligibility to help?
There'd have to be an educational eligibility impact, right? So when we look at the three areas that are neurological in their origins, we look at ADHD, we look at autism, and we look at emotional disability. So based upon that, he might meet eligibility in the category of emotional disability.
Can you have a 504 and an IEP at the same time? OSD says I can't.
They're two different things. So if you have an IEP, the 504 components of the IEP are the accommodations. So there would be no need for you to have both.
Let's see. Do they have a cap load at Emerson Elementary? Only 28 students can get services for 3rd grade.
Oh, Emerson, what are y'all thinking? What? No, that sounds like something Texas would do.
Okay. Let's see. Can a student who has ELL be put into another room with an EA to teach them because they can't attend?
Well, that sounds like segregation. That's illegal. So, that she made the noise again. She's going to owe us a quarter, Elena, every time she does the noise. Yeah, so we don't remove kids. We educate them.
Is it mandatory to wait a 9-week period before doing the IEP consent meeting, which is then 45 days?
I don't know. What do you think the federal government says about that? January 2011. Let's not do that. If there's a suspicion of a disability, then we test. We wait for nothing. All you're doing is penalizing the child.
Special education boss. At my school, they are pushing 1 to 10 students into general ed. Is this legal?
I don't know where they got that from. Were they at a bad gambling tournament? Where did they get that?
Can a student be ID if their adaptive scores were all average or below average?
Well, they can't be all average or below average. So to be ID, to be considered to meet criteria, you have to have your IQ, your GIA has to be 2 deviations from the norm. So depending if you're doing Z scores, T scores, scale scores, standard scores, that's in the 0 percentile. Number 2, you have to have 2 adaptive areas that are not in the normed and average range. But I'm very cautious before I agree to that, because there could be kids that met that on paper, but you could have a very responsible evaluator who indicates there's other circumstances that could skew that information.
So important.
Oh, somebody said props to Elena for rocking our eligibility meeting the other day. Oh, she's really good. Yeah. You don't want Miss Thomas to be unhappy with you in an IEP meeting, I can tell you that.
Ooh, no ma'am. How do you feel about parents that go crazy of the wording of accommodations like will to shall?
I would just say, I don't know how crazy you can go. What is it, Old Testament? What is that? I think that sometimes we wear ourselves out on things that don't matter. So what state am I from? I'm from the great state of Texas.
Experience with school psychologists? ?
Just for 28 years. I'm not dating any of them, but I do have some of their cell numbers. That was funny, Cindy. That was funny. You can make a noise there.
I think I'm trying to hold in my noise, but we don't know what that's going to do at the end of the hour, do we?
I think it might give you the hiccups.
Let's see. What are the districts sending IEP students to home instruction because there is no placement?
That's against the law. It's against the law. Don't agree to that. Hey, Megan.
What can I do if my son's school won't let me watch the cameras from his classroom?
Why do you need to watch the cameras? So we don't, this is not an experiment. So this is not the plexiglass when somebody's at the hospital with a newborn. You watching the video without being in the room, without having audio, without having context, it would be just frustrating for you. We certainly have a right to look at the video if we believe a crime has been committed.
How can we push for more inclusion in general ed for SSN students?
Because the data indicates that more inclusion is needed at this time. Oh, wait. Somebody Somebody said from your previous comments, I'm disappointed in your description of ABA. What description was disappointing? I would love to know.
Me too. 3 out of 3 minds agree. With the new administration goals, how will this affect what rights will families? Oh, I'm sorry, I don't understand that.
So I think you're indicating if the Department of Education is absolved, if we get rid of the Department of Education with the new administration, as soon as that does or doesn't happen, then we'll know what other entities absorb those requirements. So they're not going away. We're still going to have civil rights. We're still going to have special education. We're still going to have the Individual Disabilities Education Act. We're still going to have Andrew F. We're still going to have the Rehabilitation Act of 1973. You have to remember the Department of Education came after special education, and it came after 504. So there's been many times we did a training on this where government agencies were absorbed or changed names. Like there used to be a Department of War. It's not just for your ex-husband. So I don't have a crystal ball. My crystal ball is in the shop, not expected to be repaired. So I don't worry about things that haven't happened, and I address things that are areas of need. So where can you get the federal law book? If you just go to the link above my name in the Tickety Talk, it's in the Amazon bookshelf. Yeah, it used to be Hugh. That's so good. That is so good. Health, education, and war. Dimples. Dimples knew that. Hugh. Hugh.
Someone asked about the dates for the mastermind.
It starts Sunday. Domingo. Conmigo. Domingo. So this will be the only for sure group mastermind. Other than that, you would have to do it one-on-one, which is a different investment. We have financing, but if you want to be a full-time, crushing it, serving families from coast to coast, and be fully ready to go by yourself into meetings, then the mastermind is what you want. So that starts Sunday, December 29th. It concludes on January 16th. It's the best. That way, if you're ready to pivot, you're fully ready.
And from someone who is crushing it, I thank you for offering those because it does make you ready to pivot. Okay, if a school is an open school, can they build a fence around it so they can have an SE class?
What? An open concept? So when you say an open school, that means that they're taking in enrollees from other districts. So if you mean it has an open layout, of course a school, if they feel like they need to, can build a fence.
Okay. I think it's...
As long as it's not to keep the hairspray out, it's legal.
I think it's keeping the special education kids in at the playground.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. My daughter had the best IEP teacher in middle school and high school. It was a big public school. Now she does not have it. Okay.
I'm so sorry.
Let's see. What can I do if my son's school won't let me? Ask.
Somebody just said, should there be a special education coordinator in an IEP meeting? Yeah. If you're really good at what you do and the school-based members are not versed in special education, then they probably need support from the district level for sure. The more people at the meeting, the better for me. I love a crowd.
Yes. What happens if an NSP is the LRE, but the mom is refusing to sign the IEP?
I don't know what an NSP is.
That's a great question. I thought you would know it. I didn't either.
So the LEA rep is going to be the principal, a vice principal, an associate principal, and in some states, there's an assessment that you can take as a counselor. So I'm not a fan of not signing the meeting. I don't know who told y'all that, but they were wrong. They were wrong. You need to sign the IEP and sign your position. Sign that you agreed, that you disagreed, that you wanted to table it, and you wanted to table it, and they weren't allowing you to. Sign the document and capture your position. This I'm not going to sign is bad training. Very bad training.
Yes.
Oh, somebody says NPS is a non-public school.
I thought that might be it.
I thought it was a radio station. But
Oh, that's funny. So what happens if the non-public school is the LRE, but the mom is refusing to sign the IEP?
Then I guess your student's not going to have special ed services. If they're going to a non-public school, that was a placement decision.
I did it again. Sounded like a radio song. How did you gain so much knowledge? What advice would you give to an up-and-coming educator?
So you guys want to see something I don't ever show usually. So I have been training myself for thousands of millions of decades. And so those are just some of the trainings that I've taken. Just some. And I will continue to take trainings because I'm obsessed with the law. I'm obsessed with these children and I'm obsessed with their outcomes. So I trained myself. So, yeah. And that's why I'm happy to train you guys.
Can we call that the rainbow wall of knowledge?
The rainbow wall of knowledge.
It's so awesome. Let's see. If a child is owed compensatory time, but is getting services at his new school, who pays for it?
Where the violation occurred. And no, I am not a special education teacher. I'm not a general education teacher. God bless teachers.
You do love your teachers,
yeah.
That's for sure. Can there be any lunch accommodations on the IEP, like preferential seating?
Caviar, goat's milk. Of course, there can be an accommodation at any point during the day that's needed for the student to be successful.
Can a long-term sub refer a student for special education evaluations? The student is in a bilingual pre-K.
Anybody can refer a student for testing. Somebody just asked, what programs do you recommend for someone who's interested in becoming an advocate? Well, it's interesting that you said that. So we have the best training there is. So we have a 2-day intensive, which is on demand. And then we have the amazing mastermind that's coming up, starts next Sunday. You won't find better training that's applicable to literally what you actually do in IEP meetings. So please join us because we need special education bosses from C to shining C. Truth with 2 F's.
Truth. That is awesome. Okay, here we go. Can a district deny to test a child for dyslexia?
Districts can deny all sorts of goofy stuff. Why would you? Testing does one of 2 things. It identifies or eliminates. Why wouldn't you want to be a party to that? Why? Oh, because you think that your smarty pants are bigger than other people's smarty pants.
My smarty pants, they're getting smaller and smaller. Let's be Weight Watchers. Why do some schools not provide special education classes?
I've never heard of a school that didn't provide special education classes in my whole life. But if I did, I'd be happy to file on that for you. Happy to file. I'm a fantastic filer, and I don't mean just my fingernails.
Is it possible for some schools not to have special education classes and need to go elsewhere?
It's possible for them not to have special education programs, but every campus is charged with providing a resource room, which is part of 300.115. It's part of supplementary aids and services. So as it relates to programs, whether it was an ECSC class or an autism unit or behavioral unit, that's not necessarily housed at every single campus.
Okay. What does the law say about pushing specialized academic instruction?
So it says in the least restrictive environment that we educate students to the maximum extent possible with their non-disabled peers with supports and services. And when that doesn't work, then we have to look at other settings.
There was a month with no teacher in the special education class? When and how do you make up the time?
I would ask the school district, what is going to be the compensatory offer that you're going to propose to Miss Thomas to mitigate the loss of her child's education? Ask them, what are you going, we don't have to come up with all the answers. I don't take federal funds. I don't take state funds for special education students. They do. So ask them what they're going to do to fix it.
How does the VIP differ from the academy?
So the academy, I teach weekly on a series, and then we open it up at the end for a few questions. So the coaching became a need because I had people that had finished the 2-day or they'd finished the mastermind, and they're advocates or they're a parent with multiple children, and they have a lot of questions around confidential information. And I wanted to be able to go in there and really deep train them on the specific things that are happening in their life every week as they're going into IEP meetings. So it's really for people that are full-time and need weekly coaching from the boss.
That's some great coaching too. If the school waits like 7 years to assess a known disability, are they violating child fine?
If you wait 2 minutes, you're violating child fine.
How do you request for a child's 3-year complete evaluation?
So when the 3-year comes up and we're doing a reevaluation of existing educational data, we ask for testing in all areas.
Thoughts on a district that says a student can't qualify ED because it's a male student of color?
Wow. That's what I would say. Wow. I mean, I would just be filing immediately on race, retaliation, disability with the U.S. Department of Education Office of Civil Rights. Immediately.
Can a special education teacher push a student in more than the time on their IEP, and for how long before meeting?
No, don't do that. Don't do anything outside of the codified IEP, because that's not what we agree to. If the student needs more time, then we come back to the table, we agree as a committee, and we make it legal.
Is an IEP or a 504 plan better for a child with DMDD?
Whatever's better is the level of service your child needs, right? So if your child needs supports and goals and special education time by somebody other than the general ed teacher, then you're going to need an IEP. If they solely need accommodations, which I've probably had 2 or 3 kids in 28 years that really only needed accommodations, then that's what you would need, a 504.
How often is a pre-K student reevaluated after the initial IEP?
So anybody that's evaluated for special education, whether they're 3 or 13, every 3 years we're charged at the maximum to look at reevaluations.
Let's see. Duplicate. Is it true that self-contained classrooms require an IQ below 50? Because that is our district's policy.
Ooh, I'd love to see that in writing. I bet it's one of those policies that's just in their hearts. It's not in writing, because that would be discriminatory. So if your IQ is a 50, that's not a policy. That's illegal. We have life skills classes or self-contained classes for children that need functional academics and functional skills. Oh, there's Paige. Y'all say hi to Paige. We're all waving. Paige, are you having fun with my grandchild over the Christmas break? Was that too much? Was that? No.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm sure that Levi was asking for his Gigi all day. I'm coming soon, sweetie. I'm coming soon.
Here she comes to save the day. Gigi is on her way. Okay. You're fabulous. Dyslexia therapist here in Dallas. I save your TikToks about student study team. Thank you very much.
Oh, thank you.
Do you think inclusion is meaningful when students who are deafblind are in digital art class?
It depends. I mean, the assistive technology, we have kids that have digital braille. So the Assistive Technology Act of 1998 I have people that are visually impaired that are better on electronics than I am with my vision. So just ask the great Travis Moses.
I am going to ask the great Travis Moses about digital braille. I need a lesson.
You didn't know about that, CB? Come on, ma'am.
Wow.
Catch up. That's probably why you should join the VIP coaching.
Absolutely.
There's that.
I hear great things about it.
So good. It's fabulous. It's just fabulous.
Guess what Jennifer said? Jennifer said, I have a 2E child, and the district acts like they never even heard of such a thing. What do you think about that?
I think that it is possible that a district has never heard of a 2E child. I didn't serve my first 2E child till probably 12 years ago. It just is such a low incident occurrence, or even that it's tested properly. So I would believe that a district in America would say they've never heard of that.
Where can I get the federal law book?
You can
Can
go.
we order it here?
Yeah, you can order it on the link above my tiny hairdo. So it's in my Amazon bookshelf. It's the best $40. Make you holla. Right, Elena? Elena's been known to hold up the book and threaten them with it.
I was only insinuated that I threw the book at them, and I didn't. It's heavy and made of pump.
Isn't that what it means to throw the book at them?
Correct. Let's see. Do SPED kids need to take the STAR test?
I don't think any kid needs to take this stupid state test ever. Who cares? No one. I'm 59. Nobody's ever asked me how to get on state testing. Nobody cares. I don't care. Nobody cares. Unless you work for them. And then you might care. I don't care.
Absolutely. Much older sister, would you please read the chat? Thank you. Let's see. Thank you for teaching us how to advocate for our children. We love you.
Oh, I love you.
Yes. Does the state of Texas follow alternative testing for Larry P?
I don't know who Larry P is, but the state of Texas has very specific criteria for alternative testing.
Okay, let's see. Yep, we did that one. Okay. As a general education teacher, do you think it's my responsibility to find a substitute for an IEP meeting?
I think it's the responsibility of a principal to make sure that his school is staffed. And part of that staffing includes IEP meetings. The link for the book, so if you go into my bio on TikTok and go into the link tree, the Amazon bookstore will be there.
Is a non-public school considered private?
Nope, it's a non-public school. If it was private, it'd be called private. So non-public schools receive funding from the federal government. That's a good question. That's like a top 10. I've never had that question.
Yes.
If you could make some sort of like sparkle thing come down over the screen, that would be fantastic, Cindy.
Absolutely, but we could put a shout out to Danny. Danny! With an I. Okay. Oh, you are phenomenal.
Okay.
So you know.
Thank you. I think y'all are phenomenal.
Is there anything a teacher can do about a special education pre-K student that's extremely aggressive?
Go to their principal for safety, because if we're not safe, nobody's learning.
Can you please explain what co-teaching looks like? I'm not sure it's being done properly at my school.
Sure. So a co-taught class means that there's a teacher of record teaching the grade level standard. And additionally, there's a certified special educator in there for the entire block so that it's co-taught.
Yay. As a general education teacher, how do you ensure students' accommodations are met when they have 33 students per subject?
Well, one of the first problems with accommodations is we have way too many, and that's part of our training that we do. We have really puffy, over-typed IEPs that mean nothing. There's no reason for a child, other than a child that has an ECC, an expanded core curriculum, to have more than 10 accommodations. We have way too many goofy accommodations, period. But there's a very simple system that you can just track them, whether it's in a document, a dry erase board. We're not looking for perfection. We're looking for progress. So whenever we're upset with the school that's not doing the accommodations, it's because we've been in a meeting and they say, I'm not going to do them. Not because they're too busy, not because they don't have time. I'm not going to do them. So that's really what an advocate's looking for. Somebody asked, how much does it cost for you to file a state complaint? So depending on the complaint, it's probably going to take me 3 hours once I get, prepping with the client and the documents. But then you have follow-up with the state, or depending, we might do a federal complaint instead of a state complaint, and those are a little bit different timelines. It's not that many hours.
People need to know where to go to sign up for the Special Education Academy and the Mastermind.
Yeah, so all of those are at specialeducationacademy.com. So the group Mastermind is only going to happen December 29th. I don't know that it will happen again in 2025. It just is so time. What's the word? Intensive. Thank you. Mm-hmm. And I love it. And then the 2-day on demand is in specialeducationacademy.com. And then Special Education Academy, join the academy. They're all right there at the top. So Special Education Academy, and then go to trainings.
There are students in an LI classroom. And let's see. Sorry, I have a student in an LI classroom that is very volatile, and all of the other students are suffering. What can I do as the teacher?
Reach out to the principal. We're unsafe in the room, and when we're unsafe, no one is learning, and I'm certainly not able to teach.
Oh, I wish I had you when I was in special education. We were so mistreated.
I'm sorry.
Let's see. Oh, duplicate.
And then we're going to take 3 more. We're going to take 3. We're going to take
every state.
Do what? What did you say? Oh, we lost her. Uh-oh. Elena. Uh-oh. She muted herself. That's probably Elena that did that.
Did what?
Uh-oh. 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 Oh my gosh. Panic in Apopka, Florida. Okay, so Cindy.
No,
okay, does a one-on-one need specialized training other than a class aid? Maybe. They'd probably need to know the students, the reason for the need to be one-on-one. District is putting a student with average IQ, adaptive concerns in my alternate curriculum class. Help.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I would just tell them that they're in the wrong setting.
Yes. I can't hear me.
You can't hear us?
Here we go. I am a one-to-one parent, and I work with an amazing team of teachers.
That's awesome. Is there a question? Can you hear us, Cindy?
Does the advocate training cover every state? Did we do that one?
The advocate training covers all the states. All of them.
Yes. Have you ever represented an intellectual gifted child with autism?
A gifted child with autism? Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
So we're Cindy.
Yes.
We're going to take one more question. Just one. She's in the lag zone.
Can you put the steps of discipline in the IEP? Because I feel my child's school is being unfair.
So discipline is not an IEP decision. It's an administrative decision. So I certainly would take the time to sit down with the principal and say, what would be your response if said disciplinary needs showed up? So we love you. We want to tell you how much we are so grateful that you have been with us for this year. And we want to wish you a very Merry Christmas or Happy Holidays, whatever you're celebrating. We hope that you are resting. We're going to be here. If you need anything, let us know. Special Education Academy is going on tonight and next Monday night. If you want to get trained, now is the time to spend money on you. Give yourself the gift of being equipped, because 28 years ago, I taught myself. And unfortunately, this learn as you go penalizes your child. I love you. I call you blessed. Happy, 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 happy holidays and the most Merry Christmas. And we'll see you guys in the next training.